How do you define having it all? The way I define having it all, and you can use a different definition, yet I define it as growing in all areas of your life. For me, that's my faith, my family, fitness, finances, falling forward, and friendships. And I believe when you're growing in all 6 areas, you can truly have it all. Now, before you send me hate mail or make nasty comments, I don't believe having it all means your life is going to be perfect. I can't solve all your problems, and I don't believe you can solve all your problems either. Life is messy. Very. Ask me. I have a wife, 5 kids, a dog, a cat, 2 birds named Griffin and Jewel, an unnamed goldfish, and 4 pet chickens that poop everywhere. Chicken poop everywhere, I'm telling you. Yet, I found out by having something in my life called roadblock stompers. And in the book, Lessons from the Year I Lost $1 Million, we spend a lot of time on roadblock stompers. Because roadblock stompers are 3 things, today I'm going to tell you about 3 things, that can give you daily success, that drive you to having it all. And it's all laid out in an easy process. So that's E as in elephant, A as in apple, S as in small steps, and Y for you. Let's start with number 1, E, encouragement. The first step in having it all is finding out what encourages you. I remember the year I lost $1 million. And in 2008, it was a dark morning when I felt as if I was losing it all. My family, the business I created, and certainly the standing in my community. Yet, whether you believe in divine intervention, the fickle humor of the universe, or the force, a peace came over me. Because I discovered why bad things happen to good people. They happen so good people can survive, stabilize, and succeed again. And then take what they learned and go help other people. And so that sense of encouragement came over me like a wave. And that led me to understand I needed to encourage others. At that point in my life, I felt as I had nothing to give other than to encourage other people. And that's what I did. I just went out and I started encouraging people. I started going, high five, fist bump, you're going to get it done today. And amazing things have happened over the last couple of years of my life. And let me explain how this works. When you encourage others, you get back what you give. And if you can imagine a glass-calm lake or pond, perhaps you're walking out in a field and you see a pond. Perhaps you already have it all and you have a beautiful lake home and you walk out on your pier and it's a glass-calm morning. You happen to pick up a rock and you drop that rock into the lake. And as the rock hits the lake, it goes plop, and ripples spread out from that rock being dropped in the glass-calm water. And I've heard this metaphor used to describe the interactions that we have with each other, that those ripples affect other people that you can't even see, and they go on forever, they go on for generations. Now let me shrink that metaphor down to you into a bowl of water, and you drop that same rock into that bowl of water, and the ripples go out and they hit the edges of the bowl. What happens to those ripples? They bounce back. What you send out comes back to you. And let me clarify something. A lot of times, when you give encouragement to other people, you're not going to get it back from the same people. Has anybody ever found that to be true? What's going to happen is the more you give, the more you're going to get. You want to give with the proper motives and never expect anything in return. Yet, a lot of times things are going to come back to you, not from the person that you encouraged, but from someone else. You try this and let me know how it works for you. That's the first part of the easy process to get you what you want. Encouragement. Find out what encourages you and then go off and encourage other people. Step 2 is called accountability. And by accountability, I mean the first thing you need to do is hold other people in your life accountable so they don't suck all the life energy and time out of your life. And let me tell you how this works in our company. Is what we've done is we've come up with a radical system, we call it the monkey system, where we don't allow each other to steal our time. And I read a book one day that gave me this idea, and we adapt it for use in our business. And what happens is someone will come in my office, or my wife, or my organization I might belong to will come to me with a problem. And so this problem is represented by a huge monkey on their back. And so they come in my office and they put this monkey down in my desk, or on my lap, or somewhere else. And they say, Dale, I have this problem. Da 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 da. And the old me would have said, great, let me have your problem, I'll fix it for you, because my ego is involved. And what does ego stand for? Ego stands for edging God out, edging growth out, no matter which way you look at it. You don't want to get your ego involved. Well, then I wouldn't have any time to do anything because I'm solving all these problems. And I like solving problems, but I like having an impact better. And so what I do now is I say, okay, that's an interesting problem. Let's see how we're going to solve that. What are your suggestions? Give me 3 suggestions you have for solving this problem. And then the person will stand there or sit there and they'll give me 3 ideas. And perhaps I'll play off those ideas and we'll brainstorm and come up with something neither one of us ever would have thought about on our own. Or perhaps I'll say, hey, that first idea you said is really good. What do you think you should do next? And then I'll let them give me 1 recommendation or suggestion on how they should solve their own problem. And then the key here is, of course, is when you ask, how should we solve this problem, you need to be quiet. And let them give you answers. And when you ask for their suggestion, do you know what you need to do next? Yes, quiet. Sometimes it takes a long time for people to come with ideas. Sometimes it's because you've never allowed them to come up with their own ideas, or no one's ever asked them their opinion. Yet, over time, this is going to be amazing because they'll come in with answers. And if you train your team right, or people in your life, you're going to find that they come to you with multiple solutions and a recommendation even before you ask for them. That's a beautiful thing. Or they even will come up with this stuff on their own. Then they'll tell you about a problem they fixed and how they went about fixing it. And when you go, well, why did you decide on that? They'll tell you, well, I came up with all these options and this seemed like the best option. It's a beautiful thing. It makes you unneeded. So you can go actually out and do what you want to do. And what do you need to do? You need to be accountable too. And what does that mean? There's an A, B, and C part for you being accountable. And A starts with, you need to do what you're going to say you're going to do. You need to show up on time or early to anything that you're going to. And don't expect to be perfect here, but clean up your messes. Meaning that when bad things happen, and they will, and you haven't been able to be accountable, just say, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me for being late to this meeting? I'm sorry. Will you forgive me for those harsh words that I just used? Oh boy, I do a lot of that with my wife and my 5 children, and even my team, because sometimes I can get a little excited. And believe it or not, I can even come off harsh. All right, step 2 is understand that you're 100% responsible for everything that happens to you. That's right. If you drive away here today and you get a flat tire, that's your fault. You chose to get in the car, it's your fault. Now, the reason why you do this is because when you understand that everything is your fault, you're 100% responsible for you, instead of being the victim, and the definition of a victim is someone who is powerless. And you don't want to be powerless. You want to take control of your life. If you're going to grow your bank account, live your passion, and maximize your time, you have to understand that you're responsible for everything. And then you focus on those areas, and you'll find that what you focus on expands. That's a law. All right, back to being accountable. So just understand that you're responsible for everything that happens to you and take life as a learning experience. And then the C part, the last part of accountability, is to be fat. F is in Frank, A is in Apple, T is in Tom. F-A-T, fat. It really means that you want to be coachable. We use the term fat because in the workshops that we give, we expect the people that attend to be faithful, to understand and believe that we have something of value to give them. They have to believe in our process. Then they have to be available. If they can't make a workshop slot, if they can't invest 3 hours of their life to grow their bank account, live their passion, or maximize their time, there's not much we can do. And then they have to be teachable. Because have you ever given a talk or had a discussion or was in the room when someone was you were trying to teach somebody something, and yet everything you said they just thought? Because they're not teachable. Maybe they believe you can help them, and they're there, yet they're not teachable. In my book, you need to be coachable. You need to be fat, F-A-T, in order to get everything you want. All right, so we talked about encouragement. Find out what encourages you. Encourage other people and watch it come back. Hold others accountable in your life so you have time to do what you want. And then at the same time, you need to be accountable to yourself. Then the last step is called small steps you take. Break down everything in your life into small steps. Now, I mentioned I have a wife and 5 kids, have a big business, multi-million-dollar business, went through a year where I lost $1 million. And you can imagine that when you lose $1 million, how do you recover from that? If you think about paying off $1 million all in one chunk, you would end up sitting in the corner, curled up in the fetal position, crying. You need to break things down in small steps. And again, that's a principle that we use in our workshops, and we don't even call them workshops, we call them unworkshops, because workshops are boring, and unworkshops are entertaining, inspirational, and educational. They're an experience. In our unworkshops, we talk about breaking everything down into small next steps. Because you can do small next steps today. You can look at what's in front of you, you can pay attention to it, focus, get it done. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about all those big things. If you just do the small daily actions, you'll wake up 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 5 years from now, poof, an overnight success. Just like all those other successful people that you envy. That's all they did. I'm working on writing my first New York Times bestseller right now, and it started just by making a Facebook status every day. That was my initial commitment. Once a day, Facebook status. Did some other things, started posting 3 times a day, started a blog, started writing a certain amount per day, and by next year the book will be out and launched, and you'll see it on the New York Times bestseller list. And it's all about growing your bank account, living your passion, and maximizing your time. All right, that is the easy process to get what you want. There's 3 parts to it. Encouragement, meaning that you need to encourage others. Before that, you want to find out what encourages you. Accountability. You want to hold other people accountable so you can do what you need to do. And the first thing you need to do is hold yourself accountable. And then you want to break down everything you do into small next steps. All right. What is the next step for you? I already told you I wanted to invite you to join the conversation at lost1million.com, where we talk every day about growing your bank account, living your passion, and maximizing your time. And you'll find that when you employ the roadblock stompers that you hear today and every day at lost1million.com, that it's easy to have it all, to get what you want. Because all it takes is encouragement, accountability, and small next steps. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with before you go is I brought this handout today. On the front, my team decided to put my face on there, and that's pretty exciting. There's also my story here on this side, and hopefully you've been taking advantage of the notes section in the middle. On the inside of this, you'll find our unworkshop schedule. And this is where we talk about growing your bank account, living your passion, and maximizing your time. I'm not sure which one you need. All I know is when I talk to an audience this size, or I'm out here on video on YouTube, that 70% of you are living paycheck to paycheck. That 50% of you are in a job or business that you hate. And certainly a large percentage of you are looking to grow things on the side. And lastly, 90% of you do not have enough time in the day to get done what you need to get done. These workshops can fix that for you. Now, we're not going to solve all your problems, yet in my life, coming through that year where I lost $1 million, it's like I was in a forest fire where everything was burned down, and the trees represented the beliefs and attitudes I had going into that year. And since then, everything was burnt down. Yet just like a forest fire does, when everything is blackened, you find that new growth rises up out of that fire. And you're looking at a man who's literally, not literally, but figuratively, had third-degree burns. Yet today, I am grateful for the lessons I learned the year I lost $1 million. Because these are lessons that you can take from me. Whether you're in a monster season of success and you want to protect what you have or take it to the next level, or if you can relate to me where I was 44 months ago and needing to survive and stabilize. Join us for the conversation at Lost $1 Million or lost1million.com. I need to get my own website right. Or come to one of our workshops where you can get hands-on coaching from a team that's walked the walk, talked the talk, and has the t-shirt to prove it.